Welcome back to another recording of the Elevate Media Podcast. I'm Chris Anderson, your host. Today, we've got a super impactful and motivational story about persistence, overcoming big obstacles in life. And so you're going to want to tune into this one and be ready to share this one at the end. Today's guest is Adam Bennett. He's a marathon runner, coach, and true inspiration. After being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2015, Adam set out to run the equivalent, get this, of the Earth's circumference. So I'm not a math person, but I think that's about 24,901 miles if I wrote it down right. And it took him nearly 10 years to do it, but he crossed that finish line, proving that adversity doesn't have to stop us. It can actually fuel us. And so his story is one of resilience, family, and just pushing through hard time in the face of life's biggest challenges. Adam, welcome to the Elevate Media Podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. This is neat.
Absolutely. Super excited to kind of start sharing your story for more people can hear it and be inspired and motivated. Because there are a lot of other people out there probably going through MS and doing it alone.
You know, going through MS, going through anything. Mm-hmm. I elected to put this out there because I wanted to be a positive influence and a positive message and story for anybody that needs it, regardless of what they're battling. Yeah. I mean, health, life, whatever it may be.
Yeah. So let's go back to that moment, like that moment of your diagnosis. Can you kind of walk us through that story? What is going on in your mind when that happened?
So fair warning, I'll get emotional.
That's okay.
I'm that kind of guy, and I'm not afraid to put that out there. But so on Father's Day in 2015, you know, we were with our kids doing our daily thing, you know, having a good time. Yeah. And the left side of my tongue went numb. And we were driving the car. I remember it. I'll never forget it. And so that kind of kicked off a journey. It kind of went numb and tingly a little bit. And then I spent, you know, you go to the doctor, you get MRIs since it's in my mouth, and you know, you go to an ENT, a dentist, all that stuff. An ENT eventually ordered an MRI, and they saw a spot on my brain, which is a scary moment in and of itself. And they said, well, it's an inflammation. It doesn't look like anything's growing there. Okay. So I got referred to a neurologist and jumped through things, and the neurology appointment was several months out, and that wasn't good enough for me because you're nervous.
Yeah.
So I ended up finding a neurologist, got an appointment earlier, you know, another MRI, some blood work, and then they did a spinal tap, and then I ended up getting my official diagnosis on September 10th in 2015. And that was an emotional, heavy-hitting day. I mean, it was a Thursday morning. I was in Indianapolis for the night for work. Mm-hmm. I had to present at a meeting that next day. And we didn't expect this, so my wife wasn't with me, who's a huge support. And so this doctor tells me this, and it kind of hit like a bomb, you know?
Yeah.
You know, do you have any questions? And at the time I was racing marathons, and I ran a lot and coaching a lot. And, you know, the first question that comes to mind, of course, is, you know, what's this mean for my kids?
Sure.
Oh, they're fine. They're going to be good. You're going to be good. And I asked him, I said, you know, I'm a pretty healthy guy. I eat right. I run. I race. I intend to live forever. What's this mean for that?
Right.
And he says, well, you know, you're going to be fine. It's scary, I know.
Sure.
He explained it a little bit. And then I was, you know, the appointment was over, and I was walking out to the car, and, you know, you have an inner monologue in your life going, everybody does. And I'm telling myself, and I remember it walking through the hallways at the hospital, hold it together.
Yeah.
Hold it together. Yeah. And I get out to the car, and, you know, you call your family, and I had to leave a message for my wife because she was teaching. And I went on into the city after talking to some people and just kind of letting this bomb hit. And I got checked into my hotel, and I kind of was just sitting there looking around. I thought, well, I'll go for a run because, you know, I ran every day. So I went out for a run, cleared my head, and then, you know, got with some friends, and then, you know, just kind of started down that journey of figuring this out, learning about it and understanding what it is. And then I didn't actually come up with the goal right away. That was a year, maybe later, year or two.
Yeah.
I was on a run somewhere, and runners think through miles as you're running.
Yeah.
And being a coach and a goal-oriented person, it kind of made sense to just, I remember being on a run and thinking, well, I wonder how far it is around the earth.
Yeah.
And then you look that up and, 24,901, that's a lot of miles. And I decided I could shoot for that before the 10-year anniversary was the goal.
Okay. That's crazy. And with, going back to the prognosis of that, like, for those who don't know MS, like, what is that prognosis? Like, is it a shorter lifespan? What is it nowadays with all the medicine we have? Is that part of it?
It can be.
Okay.
It's so, MS is such a varied unknown.
Okay.
Everybody gets hit differently.
Sure.
And I'm blessed in the way, in what I go through with regarding MS, I'm very, very blessed. There are people in such different circumstances than what I am.
Yeah.
They don't know the cause. There's no cure. You go on your disease modifying therapy, your medication, and hope that that's working, and you change your lifestyle accordingly to try to do anything and everything you can. I'm that kind of guy that everything I can do, I will do to help make this, to improve my odds the best that I can.
Sure.
So MS can affect, in your brain, it can affect your spine. So it causes inflammation on your nerves, is the easy explanation for it. And then depending on the type of MS, it can come and go, which is relapsing remitting MS.
Okay.
And I don't want to get over my skis talking through the technical of it. I've studied a lot and I've learned a lot. But I'm very, very blessed. Other people can affect, your vision, your speech, your walking. So many variants, and there's not an easy, there's not an easy look at it.
Sure.
So as far as longevity and things like that, I don't intend to let this stop me from living as long as I possibly can.
That's great. So you said you left a message for your wife. How did that conversation go once she got that message? I can't imagine how.
Well, we were so... At the time, I didn't know anything about it.
Sure.
You had heard of it.
Yeah.
And that's part of my hope with making my journey more public is to increase education on this and other things. But, it was emotional, and I couldn't be there to get that hug and support.
Yeah.
I had friends come in that spent the night, and we went to dinner and kind of just let it settle.
Yeah.
But, that next Friday, I ran my meeting the Friday, and then, the drive home from Indianapolis was 2 hours. And then we were going to drop that bomb on the kids.
Sure.
Who were 9 and 13 at the time, if I do my math right.
Yeah.
And again, nobody knows what it is. And so, the whole 2 hour drive home, I'm giving myself the pep talk, be strong.
Yeah.
Be strong for the kids. Show them how strong you are. And my son, I remember Carson, we talked about it, and his first question was, are you going to die?
Right.
Which is an innocent question because he doesn't know.
Yeah.
And that hit like a bomb. God, tears everywhere. So, and then over time you learn and you educate yourself, and there was a lot of emotions. I'm sure you read the article that I wrote. There's fear, uncertainty, doubt.
Yep.
What's this going to do? Anger. Gosh, there was some anger in there. I would catch myself.
Yeah.
Why me? That came up from time to time. And, the medication I was on at the time, I right away I went on a medication to do whatever I could.
Sure.
And it was a shot every 3 days, or 3 days a week. I gave myself a shot, which I set out the shot kit the night before. Yeah. And, hindsight, that served as a daily reminder. And so, as time goes, you starts to become normal. And I don't know.
Was that hard to have to do that shot or set that out each night, like a monotonous, almost like a negative draw on you?
I wouldn't say, my wife will tell you it was a negative draw, but I didn't. I looked at it as just, this is, I'm a very routine oriented guy. I get up, have my coffee, go for a run. And so it was just added to my routine, right? Before bed, I'd set the shot kit out, set my running clothes out for the morning, everything.
Yeah.
And then get up in the morning and do the shot and then go on about my day.
Yeah.
I mean, the therapy I'm on now is an infusion every 6 months. And so there's, you get that every 6 months and then you don't worry about it, think about it. So the daily reminder's gone. I mean, you still think about it once in a while and things, but.
Yeah. Do things like symptoms flare up like more on certain days, or are there things that make it flare up, or does the medicine or the treatment you're on kind of keep it at bay?
No, it comes and goes. Okay. So my initial symptoms, as I shared, are on the left side of my tongue, my teeth, and you can feel it in my face sometimes.
Gotcha.
Generally with MS, any symptom that lasts more than a year is regarded as permanent.
Okay.
So what I have is I have an inflamed spot, some inflammation on my trigeminal nerve in the middle of my brain that's about the size of an M&M, peanut M&M. And the trigeminal nerve controls the feeling in the side of your face. And, there's the lower, middle, and upper. And if I'm not thinking about it, I don't feel it. Man. I don't think about it a lot. I mean, you think about it, but the more tired, dehydrated, stressed you get, you can kind of feel.
Okay.
It starts to flare up, that kind of thing.
Okay. That makes sense to that. So with that, what is that? You started the goal, right, of the circumference of the earth.
Yeah.
You said you're running and you thought about that. Just a random thought of what's the circumference, and let's do that.
What's the circumference? I looked it up, when I got home, and I sit down and, of course, you Google that.
Yeah.
24,901.
Yeah.
And then you start doing the math on that. What's that look like?
Sure.
Mileage-wise.
Yeah.
What's the daily commit? And at the time, I was running every day anyway, but it was kind of just, where's this lie? And so I kind of set this goal, didn't think a lot about it.
Yeah.
And then, as time goes, the thought keeps coming up.
Yeah.
And so periodically I would check. And then, I don't know, 5-6 years out from, 5-6 years ago, I put together a spreadsheet and I really decided, okay, we're doing this.
That's awesome.
And the math on it works out to just under 7 miles a day.
Okay.
Every day.
Yeah.
For 10 straight years. So.
Wow. Every day.
Every single day.
Rain or shine.
Cold weather.
Sick or healthy.
Man. Sore, injured.
Yeah.
I looked back. I took about 130, just over 130 days off in 10 years.
Oh, wow. In 10 years.
Yeah.
Jeez. How did you push through on those hard days when it was like, I don't want to do this. I just feel terrible, or I'm hurt, or I'm sore? The discouragement. Yeah,
that's a good question. I would, in pushing through some of that stuff, some of the days you don't feel like running and things, that was always a conversation I had with teams I was coaching.
Oh, yeah.
We got to get out there. We're going to get out there.
Yep.
And I would tell myself, it's small bites.
Yep.
Just put on your workout clothes and go outside.
Yeah.
Something. Let's just go for a half-mile run or a mile run.
Yeah.
And then inevitably you start to feel better and the endorphins kick in and you get the mileage done. And there were days I would do less than the required.
Sure.
And there were days I would do more than the required.
Right. Yeah.
But, you start tracking that and thinking it through and really hammering it out. Yeah.
You said you're really, on your routine. You set your workout clothes out before. Was there anything else that kept you in that routine to put you in the best spot to actually do it?
Nothing that jumps into mind.
Yeah.
It was more of a mental goal setting. We're going to do this. This is my way of showing that I'm in control.
Yeah.
That rather than, that I'm a person with MS. It's not going to define me.
Yep.
It's not going to control what I can or cannot do.
Yeah, I love that. So with that, I mean, obviously tough days like we talked about, you just kind of pushed through it. But what was your support system like? I mean, obviously you have family, your friends, you have athletes, you coach, business. What did that look like and how did that affect you?
My support system is absolutely amazing. My wife and my kids are obviously at the top of my support system.
Yeah.
And aside from them, I shared that first day I was diagnosed, I had friends come in. Those are some of my closest friends.
Right.
And so I could talk to them and we have some friends back home that are as close as family that it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And right away, I didn't share that I had come up with this goal. There were a couple runners I had talked to about it. And one of them years ago, and he and I just talked yesterday actually about this. He said, we were on a run and he said, you need to write about this.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm more of not a writer. I'm a technical thinker.
Sure.
I work in technology. I'm not going to write anything. Yeah. But for some reason that stuck with me. And then, fast forward 6-7 years, I sat down before I finished the goal and wrote out what I wrote and actually put my feelings on paper, which was so hard to do.
Yeah.
But, I shared it with my wife, which took me a week to have enough courage to show her. And just the support. And I shared it with a couple other people. And the response was, this needs to go out on social media. And so I put it out on social media. And then the company I work for is amazing people. And they took it and they took the ball and ran with it. And they organized the last mile event that was, on the news and in social media and things like that, just to get awareness out there.
Yeah. Did you see it? Did you see it getting to that level? Were you super just shocked and surprised that much attention came?
I was very surprised. I wasn't thinking that it was going to be a big thing. I wasn't intending to make it a thing. I was just getting out and winning every day by doing my run.
Yeah.
And, and I ran every day. Part of it was I was coaching teams, and it's pretty neat and encouraging, I think, for these athletes that I'm, having them run. Cross country and track are not easy sports. No. And I'm out there doing it with them and encouraging them that way, leading by example, which is something that's always been core to my fundamental beliefs.
Yeah.
But then putting this out in the world, once I made that decision and wanted to be a positive light.
Yep.
That's all I've wanted from it. It's foreign to me to have the attention directed this way, which is not what I'm after. I want other people to take this and know that there's another chapter. It's not the end of the book. We just keep moving forward. We get up and we fight.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a huge saying. And, so you're coming up, this year came up to finish the goal.
Yeah.
What, leading up to that, what was your thoughts? You knew you were getting close. So what's going through your mind? How does that feel?
It was more emotional, is more emotional than I expected.
Yeah.
It's turning that page.
Yeah.
A lot of people ask me, what's next? What's next? What's your next goal? And the honest answer is I still don't know.
Yeah.
I've kept my mileage up and I keep going out every day in case I want to do another lap around the earth, I guess. I don't know. I have a lot of time when you're out running in these thoughts. What's this look like?
Yeah.
And recently in the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of talk around the house and talking with other people and sharing this message. I don't know that what's next is necessarily a fitness goal or running goal.
Sure.
I'm going to keep running every day because that's my way of winning. That's not going to change.
Right.
And that's my way of leading in that way. But I also want to get the message out there that there's more to, we don't have to shut down. We can keep moving forward with whatever life throws at you. And there are so many things. I know this is MS related because that's my fight.
Yep.
But there are other diagnoses. There are life changes in general. Every single person out there hits a wall in their life that can be a showstopper, whether it be a job, something with a loved one, a diagnosis of some sort. And it's just kind of a let's pick ourselves up, let's dust off, head up, and we'll keep going.
Yeah. And that's such a good message, because there are so many people that hit so many different things to overcome. And I kind of want to go back again to your diagnosis. You tell your kids, first question, are you going to die? Mm-hmm. To, this year finishing the race. And if I remember right, your kids finished that goal with you.
Yeah.
How did that feel? What was that like for you in that moment?
It was absolutely amazing. And it wasn't a, gosh darn it. Okay. It wasn't a dad, do you care if we run with you? Yeah. It was we're going.
Yeah.
And also on that run, my sister jumped in and another guy ran who was actually on my cross country team when I was diagnosed. And he's been a family friend for years. And so that was neat. I wasn't going to shoot anybody down on joining me for that last mile. I've had such a strong support and run thousands of those miles with other people. You know, why not?
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a cool kind of moment for sure that you're able to share, especially with your family. And, you know, you said kind of this a new chapter coming up. You know, you had a chapter before the diagnosis. You've had a chapter now after. How has having MS changed your outlook on life at all, if it has?
When I think about my life, with the diagnosis of MS, there are two complete different. There is life before MS, and then there was life after MS.
Right.
And then that is what it is. And I don't know that there's not a huge difference per se, but there's a difference in my head that I know this is what I have. This is part of it now. I don't know. I look to move forward.
Yeah. So what's that look like moving forward? I mean, obviously you hit this goal. I know you said maybe not a fitness goal coming up, but talking about a lot of motivation, a lot of getting the message out there. Do you have anything in particular you're thinking about doing to continue to share this message and help other people?
Nothing in particular yet. Yeah. But I've looked at avenues of getting the message out there, being someone that will stand up and speak tell my story, talk to other people. Over the last 10 years of my diagnosis, I've had people reach out that are newly diagnosed or family members diagnosed with MS in particular. Yeah. And I've mentored some of those people through a diagnosis because I remember what it was like. Yeah. I would like to do more of that. I want to help. Yeah. I want to help and I want to encourage.
How do those conversations go when you talk to someone who has either been diagnosed with MS or a family member has? What is that like for you? And, you know, how does that make them feel, I guess, as well?
I can't speak necessarily on how that makes them feel. Yeah. I think it's encouraging and helpful. There's a lot of empathy that goes in there because I know where they're at. I know the fear. I know the anger. You know, I can talk to some of that. And in the case of somebody that's diagnosed, they're personally going through that. Yeah. You know, what does this look like? In the case of family members, I can help them understand, you know, what their loved one is fighting and what some of those thoughts are and some of those doubts.
For sure. Have you had any, you know, feedback from those individuals of like, man, Adam, thank you so much. Like, it actually has helped me. Have you had any come back yet and say anything like that?
That's a great question. Yes. I've had feedback recently since last mile. I've had some really positive feedback from people that is so heartwarming. I just had a conversation yesterday. Yeah. Tuesday, I spoke in front of a group Tuesday about this, and one of the attendees from the group actually came to that just because he wanted to hear what I had to say, because he said in that conversation that I was a motivator for him, which again, I don't want the pat on the backs.
Sure.
I want get that message out there and help people and move things forward. Yeah.
When you say move things forward, what do you mean?
I mean, you know, stand up. What can we do? How can I better myself? How can I look at this situation? And maybe I need to look at any situation in a positive light as much as you can. There's situations that there's not a positive light to be found. Sure. But how do I get up that next day and, you know, keep my head up high and take the next steps, whether it be, if it's a medical thing, what do I do next? How do I handle this? Whether it's a life event, what's next for where I'm at, and how do I keep moving things forward in a positive direction?
Yeah, because I'm sure, you mentioned medical stuff there. Have you seen with the medical side of things, are there any gaps? Is it a good system right now for MS? Is there a lot of, treatment options, or is there things missing from your perspective?
Things in the MS world, I mean, there's lots of research happening trying to figure out a cause, a cure. There are so many medications out now than there were. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, there wasn't much that they could do.
Okay.
So there are some amazing medicines out there. There are some amazing doctors out there doing so much for it.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. Do you see advancements? Is there anything that they're working on that you've had maybe some knowledge about that hopefully will have big impacts?
Not anything a lot.
Okay.
The medication I'm on now is relatively new. It came out in 2017, and to me that's huge. It's a safe medication, and it's a very effective medication. When I was first diagnosed, on the whole, the medications it was a teeter-totter, right? You look at effectiveness versus safety.
Yep.
And, things have progressed on that. Like I said, the medication I'm on is safe. It's super effective. I go in every 6 months and sit and get an infusion, and then, keep going about my life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so, and I think we'll have, hopefully, I'm always hopeful on it, is like big advancements in medicine and for a lot of things.
Oh, always. Yeah.
And hopefully, we'll be able to see those and see the impact. Because it is such an unknown out there, and a lot of people are dealing with it. So if someone's listening to this who's facing their own diagnosis, or even loss or life change, what would you kind of mentor them on or say to them to help them not let that define who they are?
The first words of encouragement and thoughts is that, tomorrow's going to come, and we're going to get out of bed, and we're going to do our thing, and we're going to start looking at what this looks like, what changes are going to happen, and how are we going to pick up our feet and move?
Yeah. And for those, maybe the ones who are even lower than low, they just are feeling like their story is over. What do you say to them?
Boy, that's a hard one. Yeah. And you keep encouraging, and the only thing you can be there. And I've said, I'm here. If you want to talk, we'll talk. If you want to text me, we'll text anytime, day or night. Yeah. When you're ready, I'm ready. Yeah. And that's just knowing that there's somebody there as a support system is huge. Yeah. Huge. And not everybody's going to be ready to have a conversation right away.
For sure.
That's just the fact of it.
Yeah. You got to process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And but that door is always open.
Yeah.
And so as long as they know I'm here when you're ready, we'll talk and we'll move.
I love that. And how do you handle that? Because, you've got to fill your cup, and obviously running might help you. Is there anything else you do to help fill your cup? Because if you're giving to others by, motivating, trying to inspire, trying to talk them through stuff, that could be heavy. And so how do you kind of refill your cup outside of maybe running to make sure you're in a good spot to continue to do that?
It fills my cup when I see others that are making positive moves and big strides in their life. I coached for 20 years, and I love watching, these runners succeed and exceed their own expectations. Yeah. And running's a very unique thing. You get out and you run a marathon. This guy's never going to win that race, but I'm going to get better than I was last time.
Yep.
And seeing that in other people, whether it be high school kids I was coaching or working with people running marathons, doing things with the Run for the Fallen and supporting other people, that fills my cup.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Because, obviously, if we don't have something to fill our cup, eventually you run dry, and then negatively affects you, and then you can't help other people to your ability. Because I've seen that, and I've been on that side of it. And so that's good that you have that and can pinpoint those things to say that's what fills me up and not, continue to empty me. So, if there was a message too, because again, we go back to your family, being your number one support. What is one thing you would tell your kids to help them, if you could leave them a message that they'd be able to replay over and over to continue to help them stay positive and moving forward in their lives? What would you tell them?
So it's not a what would you tell them, it's more of a what have you told them.
Yeah, sure.
My kids are 23 and 19 and doing, starting to do adult things in their lives.
Yeah. And
there's a lot of positive messages and encouragement that you give to runners and everybody else. But the two big messages and lessons that I've always tried to instill in my kids is, one, don't quit.
Yeah.
And that's a bigger thing than don't quit. I've always said that, quitting the first time is the hardest time. But once you quit something, it becomes easier and easier to quit.
Yeah.
So, on the tough days and on the days you don't want to get up and don't want to do anything, those are the most important days to keep moving your life and keep, fighting that fight, whatever that may be, whether it be running, whether it be, academics, whatever, just don't quit because it gets easier the longer you go. Yeah. And the other thing is, and I this comes from my years riding bikes and mountain biking and things like that. And it's the phrase, always look where you want your tire to go. And it sounds like an easy thing to say. And if you're ever riding a bike and you can play with this and you can see it. If you're out riding your bike, you can look at a spot on the road, a leaf on the road, whatever. And inevitably, if you look at it, you'll ride right over it.
Yep.
So,
like skiing's the same way.
Yeah. Same thing. So look where you want your tire to go, envision what's going to happen. Yep. And so with this running goal, I look forward to what's that day going to look like when I finish that. Yeah. Because it's not a question of if I'm going to finish that, it's when I'm going to finish that. Yeah. And so when you start to look forward and see, envision your goals, envision the success, then that's where your tire goes.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think, because you get distracted by everything, and that's what you get drawn that way, and that's where things go kind of sideways. And you mentioned Run for the Fallen. This is a different kind of thing. Can you kind of just high level for people to know what that's about too?
Yes, I could talk about this for a whole hour. Yeah. So when I first started running, I ran because wanted to get in shape and lose some weight. Yep. And then I fell in love with racing, and I did some marathons and half marathons and a lot of that stuff. Yeah. And then 10 years ago, I found the Run for the Fallen, and that is an organization that, they don't do runs in every state, but Indiana has a very, very strong one. Okay. And I've stopped racing. I don't run marathons, half marathons. Not to say I never will. My daughter's pushing me to run a half with her, which I'll do. But the Run for the Fallen, we honor Indiana military fallen heroes and Gold Star families. Yep. So we do the run every year, and I've become the run director over the last couple of years, because I'm apparently incapable of saying no, and when things come up, I'm always willing to step forward. But we run from Fort Wayne to Indianapolis over 3 days, and we stop every mile, and we do a ceremony to honor fallen Indiana heroes that have, specifically on the run, the names we call have lost their lives as a result of their service since the War on Terror began. And it's sad to say that number climbs every single year. Yeah. But Gold Star families come to these mile markers, and they see that we're not going to forget their loved ones. Yeah. And so it's a very filling my cup, heartwarming thing, that just to see that these families know we're not going to forget, and that we're here to honor the sacrifice that their loved one made and honor those Gold Star families.
Yeah.
It's such a heartwarming thing. I mean, as we've established, I run a lot of miles.
Yeah.
Those miles I run every year on Mother's Day weekend are the most important miles I've ever run in my life.
Yeah. Because how far is that distance for Fort Wayne to Indy again? It's like
140 miles, give or take. The required core runners run 35 to 40 miles on the 3 days. We have rotating teams that come and go.
Yeah.
I build a team that, some of us go out and run extra miles because we're here for that mission.
Yeah.
Both of my kids have become runners in the Run for the Fallen, which is amazing to see them see the world in a bigger light than their little, their little circle.
100%. That's really cool. So yeah, I wanted to bring that up. I think it's a great cause.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Such a cool thing what you guys are doing there. So, so we're going to have some rapid fire, just kind of some fun questions here at the end. So everyone stay tuned to that. But if people want to connect with you, maybe have you speak or hear your story more, where's the best place for them to connect with you at?
The best place to find me is on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I think my Instagram handle's Coach Adam Bennett.
Okay.
But I mean, track me down that way.
Yeah.
I'll share out anything that comes up and things like that.
Perfect. Yeah. So everyone make sure you can connect with him
there
so you can continue to follow his journey and what he's doing and the impact he's making. And then we'll jump in these rapid fire questions. It's just kind of fun things. So morning run fuel. Do you do coffee or pre-workout?
Coffee.
Coffee. Nice. Straight coffee.
Black coffee.
All right. Yeah. I like black coffee. Favorite pair of running shoes?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Wow.
Are you going short or are you going long? Or?
That's not going to be a rapid fire.
Yeah.
I have 5 pairs of running shoes right now.
Same brand?
No.
Oh, okay.
So I rotate shoes. I never run in the same shoes on back-to-back days.
Okay.
And a lot of that is for injury prevention.
Sure.
Different shoes have different footfalls.
Yep.
A lot of miles. So.
Okay. What shoe was your favorite starting out? Like, did you have a favorite brand when you first started running that you leaned to?
Not really.
Like, I love Brooks.
I run in right now I have 2 pairs of Brooks, a pair of Sauconys, maybe 2, and a pair of Asics going.
Nice. Okay.
So all different varieties. Some days I want to go faster, so I'll wear a lighter shoe.
Yeah.
Some days I just want the cushioning. If I'm going to go high miles, I'll put on a thicker shoe.
That's great. So it's a crazy thing. I had the same pair of Brooks running shoes for a long time. I think they were getting 500 something miles on them. And I'd run marathons, half marathons, go run out just on the road. And I liked them because of how they support my foot and everything. And I used them for sprint triathlon, same kind of thing. And then I got looking at new shoes for Brooks, and I started really kind of diving into the shoe. I come to find out those shoes I had were for short distance. They were not long distance shoes at all. And I was running marathons and stuff in it.
Just doing your thing.
Yeah. So I bought a new pair of Brooks that were for long distance, had a different drop on the back and things, and felt lighter. And so I bought those and ran this last marathon in them, and I PR'd. So
that's funny.
I was like,
finding
okay.
the right shoe.
I was like, all right, I'll blame the shoe.
Comfort
I need
level.
a commercial for Brooks because I didn't train for the marathon or anything. I just went out and ran it, and the shoes were great. So.
A common question about shoes, regarding shoes.
Yeah.
One of the common questions that people ask me after completing this 24,901 miles is how many pairs of shoes I went through, which is not something I ever thought about.
Yeah, that's a good question.
So I did the math on it, and it's hard to tell exactly, but somewhere between 60 and 70 shoes over 10 years.
You keep the last. Are you gonna frame the last pair for that last mile?
They're still active in rotation.
Okay.
Yeah, they're still there. I'll keep them.
Yeah, put them in a shadow box with the.
Yeah, that's
cool.
Yeah, something.
Now, as a runner, I know this can differ. This question, so I'm interested to hear your response. But which is harder, the first mile or the last mile?
Oh, first mile.
Yeah, just getting started.
Getting started. Now, there are days when getting through. Getting through the run or a super long run, sometimes the last mile is a slog. I'm not a particular. I don't like the heat, so these 90-degree days, 95-degree days, I struggle.
Yeah.
So if you're doing a long run, a 20-mile run or something along those lines, those last couple miles can hurt.
Yeah.
But on the whole, for me, sometimes getting out there, just getting the creaks worked out of
for sure.
on that first
getting into
mile.
your pace, getting into all that.
Yep. Finding your rhythm.
Best running advice in one sentence.
Wow. Gosh darn, that's a tough question. Best running advice in one sentence. I don't know if I can do that.
I always tell people, find your own pace.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they go out and they try to keep up with everyone else. And I'm like, you just got to figure out yours.
Yeah. Running's not necessarily about winning the race. It's about improving yourself.
Yeah.
Improving upon yourself on a daily basis.
Yeah. I like that. That's good too. Yeah. You versus you, basically.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
it is.
If you couldn't run anymore, what would you do instead to keep moving forward and staying healthy?
Probably drive my family crazy. First of all, they laugh on days that on the odd days I don't take a day off.
Yeah.
I'm bouncing, so full of energy. I like to cycle, and I don't mind going out for a nice long walk.
Yeah.
I don't. I used to ride mountain bikes a lot, and I used to bike quite a bit. And some of that I gave up when I had a mileage target.
Yeah.
For sure. But I would definitely find something.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good. So that's all the rapid fire I had. What would be one thing you would want to kind of leave the audience with as like motivation if they're struggling with something?
My armchair, I would say take a minute, settle yourself, absorb what's happening, and then start when you're ready, making a plan, looking at what's next and how we're going to move forward.
I love it. Yeah, very action oriented, one step at a time. I love it.
Look at your support system, your family, your friends, all your loved ones. There are people out there that can help and will help, and just talk through. Not everybody will understand.
Yeah.
But you just have to take a second and get centered on it to move.
Yeah. Love that. Great advice. Adam, it's been a great episode. Amazing story of inspiration.
Thank you.
Hope and perseverance. And I know a lot of people can take a lot from this, and we're going to keep sharing this out. And so again, thank you for being on the Elevate Media Podcast today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Like Chris said, I'm out there on social media.
Yep.
I'm more than willing to talk with whomever, whenever, whatever I can do to help other people. I want to move that forward.
That's awesome. And if you're watching this and you know someone who's struggling, or maybe just had something happen in their life, share this with them so they can be inspired, so they can get that kind of motivation from this, so we can do so much more good together by doing that. And if you haven't yet, follow the show. That helps us just keep doing this, keep getting the message out there. But until next time, continue to go out there, elevate your life, elevate your business, and we'll talk to you again soon.